E pluribus unum, which is found on United States currency, translates into out of many, one, or many are called, but few are chosen. There are two powerful expressions that describe the brief life of Kentuckian George Elmer Larkin Jr. Larkin was born in 1918 in Colesburg, Kentucky, the son of Sarah Jane Crow and George Larkin Sr. He had one older sister named Helen. He went to Elizabethtown High School, where he was a player on the football team. As his life ambition in his senior yearbook, Elmer stated he wanted to manage a Kroger grocery store. He graduated in 1936. After high school, he worked in various grocery stores, pursuing his occupational direction. Larkin's direction would shift as he joined the Army in 1939, volunteering on his 21st birthday. He requested service with the Air Corps. Following basic training, he was sent to Air Mechanic School at Tulsa, Oklahoma, and graduated as an air mechanic on June 4, 1940. And in March 1941, Elmer was assigned to the 17th Bomb Group at McCord Field, Tacoma, Washington, as a flight engineer and became part of a crew flying the new B-25 bombers. Larkin's crew was assigned to the 89th Reconnaissance Squadron and flew anti-submarine patrols off the coast of Oregon and Washington during December 1941 and January 1942. In February, his unit and 3 other squadrons of the 17th Bomb Group arrived in Columbia, South Carolina, where 24 bomber crews were secretly chosen for training at Elgin Field, Florida, for a special mission. As he began his military career by volunteering, he would once again volunteer along with 79 other airmen for an unknown mission. 4 months earlier, the Japanese Navy devastated United States military operations and personnel in the South Pacific. A top-secret mission was set in place to strike back at the enemy. Colonel James Doolittle was in charge of the planning, training, and execution. The mission was to conduct an unprecedented launch of B-25 bombers from the aircraft carrier USS Hornet and bomb strategic military targets in and around Tokyo. After completing their training, they were ordered to the Alameda Naval Air Station in San Francisco, where 16 modified planes and their crews were loaded on the USS Hornet on April 1, 1942. They sailed for Tokyo the next day. Elmer's 5-man crew included First Lieutenant Richard Joyce, pilot, Second Lieutenant Horace Crouch, navigator, bombardier, Staff Sergeant Edward Horton Jr., armor gunner, and Sergeant Larkin, engineer gunner. On April 18th, a Japanese trawler was sighted and sunk by the ships protecting the Hornet. Therefore, it was decided to prematurely launch the bombers at 7 a.m., which extended the mission an unexpected 200 miles, using more precious fuel than expected. Elmer's crew was the 10th bomber off the aircraft carrier and the last of the planes to bomb Tokyo. While engaging with bursting anti-aircraft shells and Japanese pursuit planes, around 2 p.m. the bomber struck its target with 3 300-pound bombs and 1 incendiary bomb. Elmer operated the top turret, which had twin 50-caliber machine guns, and is credited with hitting 2 of the enemy pursuit planes. After running out of fuel, the crew bailed out in a severe rainstorm about 30 miles north of Chukchow, China. With the help of the Chinese, all of Elmer's crew number 10 reached friendly lines. As an overall result of the now referred Doolittle Raid, the American people received a major boost in their morale with the surprising news that the American bombers had bombed Tokyo and other Japanese cities. Japan experienced the opposite effect. After the raid, Elmer spent a brief period stateside where he now was recognized a Doolittle Raider and would be treated as a true hero. Elmer returned to the war, staying in India with the 11th Bomb Squadron and flew missions against the Japanese positions in occupied China. On October the 18th, 6 months after the Doolittle Raid on Tokyo, Elmer was involved in 2 B-25 crashes in the same day. Earlier in the day, his B-25D crash-landed due to a problem with the landing gear. On a raid later that day, his bomber struck a mountain near the Burma-India border. All aboard were killed. Elmer was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Chinese Army, Navy and Air Corps Medal from the Chinese government. He was recognized by the Commonwealth of Kentucky for being the first Kentuckian to participate in the bombing of an enemy capital and received a $100 war bond. A historical marker honoring Elmer was erected on the Hardin County Courthouse lawn in 1983. On July 19, 1986, the Deployment Air Terminal of the Robert Gray Army Airfield at Fort Hood, Texas, was named in his honor. In his brief life of only 24 years, Elmer Larkin went from having a dream of being a grocery store manager to preparing and positioning himself to be able to volunteer and participate on one of the most epic and historical missions of World War II, and then 6 months later, gave the ultimate sacrifice. It is therefore fitting that George Elmer Larkin Jr. be enshrined into the official Aviation Hall of Fame of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.